Hello everyone, this is Locklover. If you're a subscriber, welcome back. If not, thanks for stopping by. In today's Mentorship Monday video, we will be going over pick profiles. We'll be talking about the different type of picks, being regular pin tumbler lock picks and some dimple picks. So now I have my regular pin tumbler pick set over to the side here, and I have my dimple pick set over to the side here. And we're not really going to get into all the profiles of the picks that are available out there. There's just not enough time to get into that. The scope of this video is hopefully going to allow you to judge what type of profile you will need on the current lock you are picking. As you can see here in the background, I have an assortment of locks that all require something just a little bit different from each other. We have a Medico here. This is a Medico original. This requires some pin rotation. As you can see on the key, they are cut on an angle, which will rotate the pins inside. We'll get into that. We have a Schlage Everest Primus, which has finger pins that may or may not require you to make a pick on your own to get to certain pins like that, which won't be covered. We have a triple bitted dimple lock, a regular dimple lock, a Medico dimple lock, which would require pin rotation like the original as well. This is an old Corbin. I skipped this one here. I'm sorry. This is a Sergeant Queso. This is another triple bitted dimple lock. This is an old Corbin that has some rather unique bitting to it. It's not as bad as it seems, but that lock has ball bearings. I don't know if I can get a close-up of it now, maybe here in a minute. Has ball bearings under the key pin. So not only is pick profile important on that type of lock, pick placement is very important, because you will slide off of the ball bearing a lot easier than you would a brass pin. That's just your typical Yale, but that is a 6 pin. That'll be a nice demonstration to show you how an extra pin beyond 5 will affect the type of profile that you need. And over here, these last two locks, which we're not going to cover these type of picks because it's kind of like, say this one here is a hybrid. You have some dimple pins, but then it's magnetic. So you're going to have to make a magnetic pick for that. This is a EVA 3KS. This is purely a slider based lock. You can pick this lock with, say, a short hook or something like that. Also, what I don't have laying out here would be, say, a multi-lock, which has pin and pin, and that would require a different type of profile pick from your normal dimples. There's something you would have to modify, but that's something that's beyond the scope of this video. Okay, so now that we have a better view of the picks, we can talk about profile. And profile is basically just the shape of the pick. And rather than get into all the different names, I'm going to demonstrate here by starting from the bottom. Your pick starts to increase in angle as we get further and further up to the top. And what that's allowing us to do is get more reach on the pins. Now, on our dimple flags, there are different shapes, as in lefts and rights and straights. And there's different amount of curve. I actually have some more that I don't normally use, and that's why I don't have them out. On them, like I said, that there's different profiles or shapes on the tip. And there's more curve or less curve or just completely straight. And the warding on the dimple lock is more or less going to determine what pick selection you're going to use there. Okay, now going back to the regular pin tumbler lock picks, the best way to predetermine what type of profile you may need to pick the lock is to take a look at the key. As you can see here, this first key, this Yale 6-pin key, all of the bitting except for one is pretty relative to one another by 1 or 2 cuts. It's not much, but that one's significantly less. So if we take this pick here, for example, and place it along our key using the very bottom here to set the last pin, we can see that we're interfering with that low cut. So we could potentially overset that pin, but that's all going to be determined by the binding order. Sometimes you may be able to get around by using a smaller pick, but other times you're not going to be able to do it. So the best way to do it is to go through your picks, line them all up on the key, and see if you can reach around all of those low cuts that your lock may or may not have. Now moving up to some, this key is a little bit different because it has to have ball bearings that's riding up over this. So it's a little more smooth looking than say the cuts on this key or that key. But as you can see, you're still going to need to find a pick that's not going to interfere with others. Now this key looks intimidating, but it, like I said, it's mainly because of the ball bearings. Now this lock kind of has a similar situation going on, or this key rather, but they're cut further down into one of the wardings where this key is not. They're all pretty high up above the warding, so it's really not a big deal to get a pick up along here underneath all of those. Now this key here may require you to dig around and see, you know, what other kind of profiles you got that may work. Now for me right now, I'm thinking that may work, but it may not. So we have other options. That may work. Okay, so I have this 6-pin Yale plug here, and what I'm going to try and demonstrate is the different profile picks going into this keyway and how it affects the other pins. Now you see there, when I'm trying to set 4 without having good pick placement, I could be oversetting 5. And to get to 5, I need to have good pick placement. But when I get to 6, I'm oversetting 4, almost to the point of 5 becoming overset. But as you can see, it's just borderline below shear. I tried this pick, which should have plenty of reach. However, I did not have luck with it getting underneath of the pins. The profile I ended up opening the lock with was this one right here. I was able to insert my pick all the way into the back of the lock without bringing any other pin to shear line. And here on this old Corbin, you can see the ball bearing right here that's underneath each key pin, and it rests right on the shelf. So this is one of the times where pick placement is going to be very crucial. You got to decide not only based off of the key, but how you're going to attack up into there without oversetting. Okay, so now moving on to the basic dimple locks. Your pick that you're going to choose is going to be based off of the warding that's in the lock. As you can see, right here is the pins. I can fit this pick in here But if it's a real high cut, I can't lift it high enough because I'm twisting the core already. I'm already bound up. Now, if I want to try and come from this side with this type of flag, I'm already getting stuck in there. I would need to narrow that considerably, and it's already pretty thin. So we either just keep going through our profiles, find something that fits, which is this straight flag, which is pretty universal for a lot of dimple locks. Will pretty much work on either side. So here I have a Sergeant Queso, and this lock here has 3 different sets of pins. You have a set that's vertical and a set that's horizontal on both sides of the keyway. And the problem with picking a lock like this in particular is the little amount of movement that it takes to overset a pin from either side when trying to pick, because they oppose each other. I don't know if you can see those moving around in there, but they oppose each other. So it's very easy to overset a lock like this. So a lock like this may require a really thin pick to pick the top stack without trying to disturb much of the side pins, or maybe some type of straight flag that you can fit in there. Just squeeze in between those pins and try not to overset something. And this is a Medico Duracam. This is a dimple lock that also needs to have its pins rotated, just like the Medico pins that I showed you earlier. However, they are different pins and it's a different type of locking system, but that's beyond the scope of this video. But anyhow, not only are you going to have to navigate the warding, but you're also going to have to be able to spin the pins. Now, I've picked this lock with a short hook a few times, and reflecting back on it, I probably should have used maybe a dimple pick like this with a notch cut in it that can be used to drag sliders or to get into the hook or the wedge of the chisel point of these pins here and rotate them to the correct angle. So basically, when choosing a profile, we need to get creative. We need to figure out how we can get around the certain traps that's preventing us from opening the locks that we're working on with the type of profiles that we're currently picking. We've all done it. We've all tried to attack a lock with the same few picks that we have over and over that we like to use, but we're kind of afraid to dig deeper into the case and find something that's a little obscure, at least in our hands. You know, everybody's going to prefer something different brands, different profiles, just you name it. There's too many variables out there. But if you can take a lock that you're having trouble with and diagnose the situation with the picks that you have at hand, you may discover that you have a pick in your collection that could have helped you along the way. There's several things you can do. You can use picks upside down. I know I like to use the glides and half glides. I like to use those upside down. You just kind of got to get creative with what you got. You know, if you don't have something that, you know, something like this right here stuck in this way, you know, you've already got a little bit of a reach right here, as opposed to using something that's particularly flat like this. So it may be too much one way, but just right this way. So I hope you can take something from this video and adapt it into your picking skills, and hopefully it helps you become a better lock picker. Thanks for watching.
Hey everybody, Diggs here, just popping in to announce the winners of our giveaway from last Thursday's video. So we've got a black set here and a red set, and I'm also going to give away 2 t-shirts with the LPU logo on it. So first we have the black set, which is going to Zachary Alvernaz, and the red set is going to Lockpicking Gal. And we've got 2 winners for t-shirts. We've got Mike Jones and Patrick Kille, and all your names are up on the screen. So if you see your name up on the screen, send us an email at unitedlockpickers@gmail.com, and we'll get your details and send you out your giveaway. Happy picking, everybody.